Legitimately Mashle's strongest episode and moment today. Like, I don't even think it's an ifs, ands, or buts. Specifically, the yeeting of the Attack on Titan level threat. Like, this was basically if the Colossal Titan had 10 or 12 heads. Mash, with pure determination, fire in his belly. This wasn't something that was easy for him. The longer he played tug-of-war with that fool, the more we saw blood squirting from his hands holding that chain. That chain, a single link of said chain, was basically the size of Mash. And he kept going and going, to the point that the crowd collectively started cheering. And when my boy Finn comes in, he is truly the bestest of boys, as this season has proved. He yeeted that fool, he swung him around rodeo style, threw him through 3 or 4 mountainsides, and had the crowd collectively say, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter if this guy has magic, not because he can keep up with us with his muscles alone. It's because he's willing to fight, if not die, to protect us. He is one of us, whether he can use magic or not. That moment has to be the best moment of this show so far. And I'm sure they can surpass it in time, but what a hell of a way to go with this episode. You think you're getting Innocent Zero versus Mash, and you get a bit of that, and the boy dips to summon his Titan, and we have an even better moment because of that. Full live reaction to this week's incredible episode of Mashle over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full link of thoughts to this or any of these episodes, it's over there if you're interested. I mean, I assumed he was flying with his feet, because we saw that in Season 1, but to see him do it was still hilarious, because I love how Mash, you know, he's like, hey, I mastered flying magic back in episode 3 or whatever. Sure. The fact that he's literally out here, keeping himself propelled, protecting best grandpa, and punching his dad in the face. I love how Innocent Zero is basically like, come here. Like, he thinks he has some authority spell, or just because he's daddy, he gets what There's nothing but cream puffs in this dude's mind. He has cream puffs and protect people he cares about. And you're neither one of those things. And he starts beating the shit out of his biological dad. I'm like, shit, man. For all the goddamn scummy fathers who left their kids out there, Mash is taking one for the team. He's saying, I'm doing what we all wish we could do. It was just fantastic because, like, Innocent Zero is an interesting entity because, like, you know, on one hand, it feels like you're talking to a human and then you remember the cube shit going on. You punch his face to the point that it should be broken and he starts repairing himself. It does make sense given that there clearly is a lot more power and new things going on in this antagonist's body. And Innocent Zero doesn't feel like the type of antagonist that you replace. It feels like more of the final boss, or at least the final hurrah for when Mash's character comes full circle. So him retreating makes sense if his body is too much. He's used too much power in too short amount of a time. Still adjustments, still things he needs to get used to. But if you just let him leave in that moment, the episode would feel anticlimactic because we literally almost killed Wahlberg all throughout last episode. And I said it, like, there's a couple of ways it can go. Wahlberg dies and he retreats. Kidnaps Wahlberg and he retreats, or he simply retreats, but I don't know how he would do that because there's no reason. Like, everything we can see is Innocent Zero is the strongest magic caster out there, and I don't think Mash, as he stands, can compete with him. In the future, sure, but as it stands, he's still pretty early into his story, right? Like, there's still a lot he needs to do more of. The day he can swing that bitch around with this chain almost immediately is the day I think he's ready for Innocent Zero. But the idea of his body actually almost self-imploding on him and he can't keep around, and then using all of that collective magic that was freezing and all the little ghouls he had to make a big boy, the fact that he left something for them to fight rather than just leaving because his body couldn't keep up makes it so it doesn't feel anticlimactic. It's not what you think was going to happen in this episode, but it still allows for a conflict of some sort. We get to have best boy, or at least second best boy, I'm sorry, like Finn is always going to be number 1, but Wahlberg can have number 2 best boy status. Because Mash is the MC, so he just kind of trumps everyone anyway, so you gotta understand the rating system I'm giving people here. There's a lot of best boys is what I'm saying, but that's currently Brandon's list of best boys. I mean, based on the look, it looks like we are gonna keep him with one arm and the whole two-faced look, which honestly is badass. I mean, I guess I can't really take wizards that seriously when they look like Wahlberg, so if you give them a little more battle scars, wear and tear, I'm like, damn, this dude's an absolute one-man unit. So I hope they keep him like that, but if not, I mean, I'm just glad he's around and still kicking around because, I mean, shit, I don't think there's a better headmaster, and everything that we dealt with, that's the type of person you want to lead the revolution of people being like, yes, we do support people like Mash because look at it. You don't need magic to fit him. Like, that's the kind of the whole point of the story is that the discrimination of non-magic users needs to go. And Mash is that kind of like holy light that will lead the charge. It's not going to completely change overnight, mind you. There's still going to be some grumpy people in the crowd. But in general, this is a lot more positive than we ever thought possible by the end of a second season. And it was really nice because, like, the animation for this entire season has been a lot better than even season 1. But, like, especially once they left the Coliseum and Innocent Zero started doing his thing, the animation, like, especially last week, or even with Mash doing his thing this episode, it's just, they cooked. That's the best way to review this episode. They cooked. It looked great. The music, like, as you get that kind of like R&B style beat going and just like the little raps in the background and you start going and then Mash will cut off to a gag. But once it really starts going, the crowd starts cheering. The music directing was beautiful. Perfection. I absolutely loved it. Like, I'm a sucker for a good character arc, and I think Mash is a perfect example of a good character arc. We started off with a boy who had nothing going on up here besides cream puffs and yes daddy, because his adoptive father he really respected. And to see the Harry Potter parody go funnier and funnier, and then actually develop into a really thought-provoking story, all things considered. I think it's interesting what they're doing with Innocent Zero. It's a very messed up concept, but shit, man, like, using your kids as this fuel source for your all great power that you're trying to do is messed up, but damn if that isn't a cool antagonist plotline. The idea, though, that really sells this story is how collectively this world despises people that don't have magic. And it's not simply just like Mash could lie his way forever because he has muscle magic. No, it's like people caught on, and the fact that even as he's standing there pulling that chain, they're like, yeah, but he still doesn't have magic. Because this is such, it's like a racism problem. It can't just go away overnight. It's ingrained into their society that people that don't have magic are lesser than you. And the fact that one person in the crowd said, it doesn't matter. That one person says, he's literally fighting for us, that makes him one of us. It's not going to change collectively the school. They might have a big party. He might be on Cloud 9 for a little bit next episode. But it's not like society has changed because of this one moment. But these are the moments that help propel that discrimination from going away. In a show that's made me laugh as hard as Mashle, to the point that when it's made me laugh, I consider it to be the funniest shit I've seen in anime. The fact that they've actually used this whole discrimination plotline to tell a really engaging story, they best confirm a season 3 is all I'm saying. Let me know what you thought of what I thought to be the best moment and best episode of Mashle to date, but let me know how you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're around here, of course ring that bell so you get notified when I upload more. And hey, like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction to all these wonderful episodes over on my Patreon, and while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Squilton, Morrud, Shadow Cyber Demon, Benjamin Margolis, and Brandon Logren. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.